like an uncle and a nephew working together.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas
exactly,
like
exactly.
he's afforded the control.
Alchemist and Prodigy were very close too. I haven't even seen anything from Alchemist in social media, anything like that. He's probably just laying low right now because him and Prodigy, I know they were very close. And
very close.
I'm sure he's pretty hurt by it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I like I said, I mentioned this earlier. That Albert Einstein album, I wanted the sequel to that because I was just like, because that came out maybe the year after HNIC3 did. And HNIC3 I was not too thrilled with.
Nah, me neither.
It had its moments, but overall I just kind of felt like, this is definitely a step down from the other two. Albert Einstein came out, and that's just like, I felt like that was one of the best things he had done.
Oh, I agree. HNIC, I think he just had, like Prodigy's like a brainiac, you know what I mean? And I think he just had too many ideas on one plate, and it kind of just didn't come out great. But Return of the Mac was a very good one, and then I feel like Albert Einstein, yo man, like other than like Infamous and Hell on Earth, I could put Murder Music. I put that neck and neck with Albert Einstein, man. That was a great LP.
Yeah, it was. I've been listening to a lot of it recently, and it's especially Alchemist's production on Albert Einstein really brought out like P was like really aggressive on that album, and he was not as aggressive on HNIC3. HNIC3, it seemed like he was more, like you said, dipping in and out of different ideas and things like that. Albert Einstein, P just was like, I felt like the old Prodigy, if you want to say that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Going for it, yeah.
It just brought out an intensity in him that, I was looking for, and I was like, man, like I still listen to that album to this day.
Sure, same.
But yeah, man, it's man, just going back and talking about all this, it brings back a lot of memories. But at least he won't be suffering anymore, and his music is going to live on. And from what I understand, he just released that album, The Hegelian Dialectic, and there's supposed to be 2 more volumes of that coming.
Wow.
So,
wow. And see, that's what I got to do now. See, I lost track of him. I'm going to say 2014, I kind of lost track. I kind of lost speed with Prodigy. And it more so had to do with like the way music was being consumed, because like I'm not like a streaming person, and everything was turning into streaming. You know what I mean? And then so much mass production of music, like I couldn't reach it all. You know what I mean? So like I fell off with P, just like I fell off with a lot of artists. But I got to go back from 14 on with his stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. And P put out like other things. Like that, he put out something called the Bumpy Johnson album in 2010, and I just heard like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I remember that when I came.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I didn't even like listen to it when it came, because he started putting out a lot of stuff. And you're right. I'm now I stream music now because it's just really the easiest way for me to consume like new music, like new like real hip hop that like I actually want to listen to.
Right.
Because as far as relying on radio, you just can't do that anymore.
No.
Unless you want to listen to Drake all the time.
All day,
But I got Spotify Premium and things like that, and a lot of his stuff was on there. And P was putting out he put out 3 mixtapes that were all features of his over the past 5 years. It was called R.I.P. Volume 1, 2, and 3. And it was stuff on there I never heard before, like ever. I didn't even know he did songs with half of these dudes.
Right. He had a song with T.I. on there, right?
Yeah. It seemed like with everybody.
Yeah.
Sean P. He was on a Cormega remix that was a DJ Premier track. I'm like, man, like, where did all this stuff come from? He's done stuff with Rock Marciano, with every semi-decent rapper from the last decade. He has something with them on there, And it's funny because I drive Uber and Lyft out here, and I pick up a lot of people. And there's people that I pick up like in their early 20s all the way to their mid-40s. And I was playing Mobb Deep in the car. I didn't care who said what about it. It's just, if you didn't like it, too bad. But everybody was like, yo, like, damn. Like, I can't believe Prodigy's gone. Like, people from their early 20s all the way to people in their late 40s. All different races, all different genders. I'm just like, man, it just shows you just how much, like, he had reached people, from all different walks of life. There's people who listened to Mobb Deep back in the day, and there's a lot of these younger people who know him from his Alchemist collaborations. Like, they ain't even really listened to Mobb Deep.
Right.
So,
right.
It's, and I like talking to them about it because I get to school them a little bit and tell them, like, yo, you need to go back and listen to all this stuff. Right. But, I mean, you can't really ask for too much of a better legacy than when he left.
Agreed, bro. So that leads to our next question. Was potential reached? And I would say, hell yeah. I mean, with the explanation point, you know what I mean? Much like Guru, I think maybe Guru might have suffered more like with the solo success, but I think Prodigy pretty much leaves on the same note as a Guru, where it's like, really, what more could you want, man? We got music for a lifetime from this guy.
Yeah, man, and a lot of good messages in the music. Stuff that was culturally relevant. That and also one thing with Gangstar and Mobb Deep, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a big fan of both, but now I turned 36 last week, and listening to their music a lot this year, just going back through their catalogs and everything. And somebody else who was around the same age agreed with me. A lot of the stuff that they did back then sounds even better now. Like, it seems to, maybe it's because we're older, we can hear different things and understand things differently, but right. I think their music and Prodigy's music will only grow in esteem as time goes on. And that's really the hallmark of a good legacy, is that time only adds to it. It doesn't take away.
I will agree with you, man. Like we got a call on the line coming in. But I will agree with you that his music with time has gotten better, especially, and I give a lot of that to Havoc because a lot of that production still sounds just as crisp. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We got Armand on the line. We got Armand on the line with us, man. Come through.
What up?
Yo, man. I know you limited on time, man. Just give your thoughts on P, man. We pretty much been running down the whole legacy, man.
B, like I told you yesterday, we was talking about Prodigy like ever since you passed, and I'ma say I'm not even going out on a limb. Prodigy was the hardest rapper in rap history. I can't name another rapper that was harder than Prodigy. From a gangster rap, I don't care, and setting trends, state of mind. Maybe you could say MOP probably is like he could be a tie with MOP, but I don't know, or maybe Eazy-E, but that's about it. And Eazy-E is a legend, so I'm putting it out there. And I'm rocking out, man. Remember I put him in my top 5, and I had to take him out, and I put him in, and I take him out. Right. He ain't that top 5, man.
He's stuck, man. He's stuck in there.
Hey, listen, man. I think I took Ghostface out because I had Ghostface in my joint. Okay. And I gotta move Ghost to like 6.
I'm not mad at that.
I'm gonna stop saying top 5 though. I'm gonna start saying like top 10 because I feel like I'm doing people a disservice by only using 5. You know what I mean? Because there's just too many good MCs out there to not, at least have a top 10. You know what I
mean? Right. Yes, man. So when you called in, we were just talking about what's potential reached, and I think we could all agree that he definitely reached his potential, past it probably. When you heard them on Juvenile Hell, and then a year and a half later on Infamous, I mean it's a total different group. You know what I mean? Like they found their sound, and like me and Armand was speaking yesterday off the record, and we were talking about how Nas is pretty much given the crown of Queens, but when Mobb Deep is concerned, that was their actual own sound. Like, Nas had other producers, Pete Rock, Large Professor, DJ Premier, when Q-Tip, when Mobb Deep actually had Havoc and Prodigy. That was it. No, Q-Tip did one other song, but they didn't have no help. It was just them.
Yeah.
So
it was the Mobb sound, and it was like the Mobb sound is like actually a New York sound, because it was like I think it kind of it was like the Evil D sound, Havoc, Evil D with Buckshot in them. It was that type of grimy nighttime vulture sound, you know what I mean? And that defined the New York sound, because before, I'm trying to tell you, it was more of a Chi Ali sound. It was like a Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul sound, and they flipped that like, all right, yeah, we like the nice music where everybody got the overalls on and dancing and doing the flips in the videos. Now we gonna take it to the we got the axes in the video, and we got the bald heads, and and we talking about rock you in your face, you know what I mean?
Stab your brain with your nose bone. And before we jump, we were saying that the music still sounds good to this day, and I always thought that Havoc could do like, movie soundtracks. You know what I'm saying? I think Hell on Earth is the most like sound worthy album that I could put up out there. Like, the sound is so crisp.
It definitely slept on.
Like, I might like that more than Infamous, man. But
why do you think I agree.
Hell on Earth is slept on the way it is? Because Infamous was so world renowned.
Yeah, and I don't think here's what Hell on Earth lacks. It don't have that one song that it all kind of blends together as a good record. But there's not that one Shook Ones or Survival of the Fittest on there. Even though Hell on Earth is a great song, but they don't have that one stick standout song on there.
What about Godfather G.O.D.?
I think it doesn't stand out.
That's a great one.
Yeah, to me, like
he flipped the Scarface beat.
I mean, it's what, in that album, I think it might have went too. I'm not gonna say too deep, but like for the average listener, Havoc got into some real brainchild. Like, I'm gonna just evolve on them real quick, and I don't think everybody really tracked the movement. Everybody was on it, like, yeah, Mobb Deep is hot, his beats sound cool, but I don't think people really got what he was like going into. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I just think Hell on Earth is more produced. To me, you could tell. I mean, Infamous is produced greatly, but I think Hell on Earth, you just see Havoc in a groove.
Yeah, he grew as a producer with Hell on Earth. There's no doubt about that. Like, you can see he stepped into a whole different realm with that.
For sure. But we got Zoe in the building, man. We just talking about P, and we'll catch up to speed. But just give us your initial thoughts, man, on Prodigy's passing. The here and the now, man, for you.
It was like, and I think we kind of talked about it. When the shadow felt like part of my childhood left. You know what I mean? And I look at, like, we had Biggie, Pac, Pun passed away, but I was still kind of young then, so I guess it didn't take that significant blow as P now because we're older. And we're looking at these dudes like they're immortals in a sense. Like, we're not expecting him to be gone at 42. You know what I mean? I'm looking at these dudes still rocking out in their 50s, 60 years old, becoming like in that next stage, like how you had like the Rolling Stones, Aerosmith, and so forth. So, I mean, it really took me off guard. And it also made me think on a health level, because he had sickle cell anemia, and I still gotta get tested. Because my mom to this day says I have the trait, so I'm looking at it almost like I gotta make sure whoever I eventually get with, or I have kids, they don't have that trait, because it could be a situation where they're gonna have that same thing. It's a painful disease.
Right.
I know people with it, and that's the thing about the pain. You can hear in his raps the pain.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I mean, really, took me. I mean, I was like literally depressed for at least 2 days about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For sure, bro. For sure. So we'll go into our final discussion topic. Armand, you let me know, man. If you got to run, it's cool. But what's your favorite work from his catalog? Armand, I'll let you start it off. From beginning to end. You know what I'm saying?
From his catalog, I'm gonna say. It's so hard. Because I don't want to negate the other stuff, but I'm gonna just say H&IC. It was between Infamous to me and H&IC. I just think he was dumbing out on I think H&IC was so consistent, it couldn't have been commercial. Even when he did the joint with BG, that joint was hot. And I ain't like none of them dudes down south. You know what I mean? But I was